Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, to the StarLadder I-League Invitational Season number 5. We have the CIS Finals here, finding out which team will be going on to the minor event that is, and which team will be coming up just short here, representing CIS. We got Vega Squadron taking on FlyToMoon here in a best of 3 for these finals. Our first of 2 finals, actually, today. This will be followed up by the European region of Mad Lads versus Kingwin, taking place as soon as this one finishes, pretty much. So we got some good Dota ahead for you guys today. Again, it qualifiers for the minor event that is a StarLadder I-League Invitational, and that $300,000 prize pool, and those all-important points for the Dota 2 Pro Circuit. I'm BreakyCPK, and actually going to be joined by my co-caster here today. Going to be joined by I didn't actually clarify what the hell to call you. Podhim, we'll go with that? Or?
Usually people go with Podhim because my name is way too long, so...
Podhim.
We go with that, I will say.
Podhim of the Moon. I see what you did there. You're one of those guys. Likes to draw down. All right. So, anyways, you're my co-caster today. This is the first time I've actually got the chance to cast with you, so I'm looking forward to some fun as well. But welcome to the broadcast.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Looking at the draft, we already have something exciting and fun coming out. Rubik first pick for FlyToMoon. With pretty interesting bands as well. Tree and Protector, Tiny, and Witch Doctor band out. That's not something you usually see in the first phase, beside maybe the Tiny. Gyrocopter and Disruptor falling through. So. Dark Riddler first pick, of course. No Gyrocopter.
this hero, you know, obviously it's always good to kind of look back at series of teams have happened to play against one another recently. You see the Omni Knight coming out. You were mentioning before that, as we were getting ready for the broadcast here, that these teams have played a couple of times recently. FlyToMoon actually winning the Madness qualifiers, so qualifying for the Epicenter Major as a result. That crazy event that was. They had to defeat Vega Squadron on the way there, so they beat them 1-0. But then Vega beat FlyToMoon 2-1. In the MDL event, and we're looking at these bands, specifically that tree, because I was with you, that's pretty unique. 2 of the games, in fact 2 victories, he was actually used for either side. So, interesting kind of meta within itself here between these teams.
Yeah, and looking at the first few picks, we see no Gyrocopter, which you would have expected with the Rubik first pick, especially if you're already facing up against the Omni Knight. They choose to go for the Abaddon instead, just to have that reliable Omni Knight counter. I cannot imagine Vega is not going to ban a Digital Knight. It just seems too powerful to have that lift into the homing missile combination for your Omni Knight. So, probably going to get rid of it soon. Razor already banned out, so no health counter to the Omni Knight available beside the Abaddon. I feel like we're going to see a lot of fighting already because Abaddon just screams, I'm going to run at you and I'm going to fight all the way through the early game.
Yeah, Abaddon's second pick, though. This really is an interesting draft. Now, again, whenever you go from region to region, it feels like, I'm going to use the word again, that meta does change from region to region within their own matchups. I got the chance to cast some Europe qualifiers a couple weeks ago. I casted China actually last week. This is not an opening, specifically the Abaddon, that we would have seen. But once again, I'm kind of looking back at the match where they played an MDL here just 2 days ago, I want to say. And in both victories for Vega Squadron, they actually ran the Abaddon themselves. So this kind of goes back to these two teams have this own kind of strategy amongst one another. FlyToMoon going to try it for themselves, though, instead with the second pick. But you keep going back to the Gyrocopter as well. I'm with you there. I mean, he's just too good of a core hero right now to just see passed up completely. So we'll see if it actually gets banned or if not picked.
Yeah, and especially against the Willow, because Jarl is one of the heroes that is always up for team fights. He's not a farming carry. He's more of the carries that I'm gonna team fight. Once the team fight is over, I use my flag cannon, farm up some stacks in jungle we prepare, and then I get ahead that way. But you always have to call lane, for example, against a Dark Widow, which is an amazing spell because it deals damage nonetheless, even if she is in Shadow Realm. She is pretty pesky to hunt down, same as the Omni Knight. So. Yeah, again, I don't think we're going to see a pass up on the Gyrocopter. It looks really good for FlyToMoon. On side of Vega Squadron, I imagine something more tanky is in order to come up with the Omni Knight. We could still see an Underlord coming out for them if they want to run their duo melee core. Seen them done that a couple of times. And just go for a hyper-aggressive mid lane.
Yeah, I never feel like Underlord's a bad option. They also do need their 4 support, and we do see some bans towards that. Actually, the Bounty Hunter band coming out from Vega Squadron specifically, so that on top of the Ancient Apparition. And it does go to Rubik's, one of those heroes that can be ran as a 4, sometimes as a 5, depending on how much priority you want to get him that Blink Dagger ASAP, how important he is in the game. And already going up against the Omni Knight, I think it's safe to say, pretty important maybe to get that Blink Dagger. So I wouldn't be surprised if they do decide to run him in that 4 and instead get something like, I was going to say Witch Doctor, but he's banned, but another Disruptor still on the board, for example. So maybe another go-to position 5 here for Fly to the Moon.
Yeah, the Disruptor looks pretty strong, especially because of the instant silence against the Will and the Omni Knight. Just having an additional silence, you can straight on board after a stun. Abaddon also not really in need of any big supporting heroes around him, so they can confidently pick 2 supports and then go for their safe lane carry. But see the Gyrocopter actually banned out by FlyToMoon.
10 seconds
particularly
remaining.
Interesting. Did not expect that one.
Well, I mean, right, I guess Vega Squadron
remaining.
could have easily snatched it up for themselves, and then all of a sudden you're facing against a Gyrocopter. So they just didn't want to take that risk, clearly, and it's not worth it enough for them to maybe get it, leaving it open in that 3rd spot. So they decided to ban it indeed, so instead Vega Squadron going to go a different direction.
Dire team pick.
And
Really different direction.
that's a bit of a different one. Yeah, Warlock. So this either means it's going to be a position for Dark Willow or potentially a core Dark Willow.
I'm fairly sure they're gonna actually run the Dark Willow as position 5, or more equal to 8. Warlock Dark Willow just
10
taking up the position
seconds
4, so no
remaining.
clear farming hero regarding them. Don't think it's a core Willow just yet.
5
She's just
seconds
too good
remaining.
in general to pass up on her being a support, simply because you only need some levels. You still have an amazing stun, you have a great root, you have a good damage and escaping ability with the Shadow Realm, so you never really take damage, especially against that one. You just press one button and you run away.
Yeah, that would be something. I mean, I know the potential, like an offlane Dark Willow has been ran a couple times, but obviously you already have the Omni Knight, so yeah, that really, unless they plan on basically doing a mid Dark Willow, perhaps going to be more of that support.
Could always be the
Radiant
mid
team
Warlock.
pick.
Never know where it's going.
That's a little bit of a stretch, I think. Yeah, Sand King, not so much of a stretch. That's a pretty typical hero left for a position 4. So, Fly to the Moon. They'll snatch him up. And now more information to come from Vega Squadron. You talked about
10 seconds
well,
remaining.
now that I think about it, I know you mentioned Underlord, but with the Omni Knight, would they
5
really go in
seconds
Underlord? So,
remaining.
no, they need their mid and
is-
their safe lane here.
Yeah, this is a full offlane Omni Knight. Probably going for something extremely aggressive for the mid lane and then the safe
Dire
late game
team
carry
pick.
for the top lane. Gonna be a D for mid, so they won't gonna reveal their their carry pick for last. I must say I like the AD. It's a good lineup. It's a good save as well. Looking at the FlyToMoon lineup, they have the 2 big setups done with either the Rubik or the Sun King with the follow-up.
10
Abaddon
seconds
Sun King
remaining.
on the offlane. That's a potent combo to burst down a Dark Willow even with
5
Shadow Realm.
seconds remaining.
Yeah, OD always a safe option, and especially with the Omni Knight backup with that repel thrown on, allows for OD to get in there and cause issues. So, Fly to the Moon, their 4th pick. Do they respond to the OD or do they go for their safe laner? I am looking back at that series and see if anything stands out. They're in a Shadow Fiend one game, DK another game, so they were a little bit all over the place. They also ran Gyrocopters 2 of those games. Obviously, he's banned as we go back to, so not going to be him, but let's see.
Mid-game pick, mid lane pick for FlyToMoon. I could imagine a puck in this lineup just to have an additional silence to strike out since Disruptor no longer is an option. Not the particularly best
Radiant
landing into the
team
abilities
back.
that he does decent. Or we take a Lone Druid, completely different direction once more.
Yeah.
That's an interesting one, but I can see that work. Just using Lone Druid, I'm not sure if they want to really put him in the mid lane or put him on the safe lane position and kind of go extremely aggressive with Abaddon,
10
Sun King,
seconds
Rubik.
remaining.
I think they identified that Vega is doing a pretty passive safe
5
lane or pretty
seconds remaining.
pretty passive carry lane. Just going with the Lone Druid that can't stay alone on his own lane. And just ganking with Sun King Rubik non-stop.
Yeah, interesting picking up the Lone Druid. Not that it's OD's counter by any means, but OD's decent against LD as well. The Arcane Rado attacks, the imprisonment's going to be annoying for LD to deal with as far as running at people or even getting away with the bear. So it's going to be a nice tool that Vega Squadron has to escape, basically, if they need to, or like I said, go offensive if they choose. So bans to follow. Vega, if they're banning it, I figure they're going to be banning a mid option. I would think the safe lane Lone Druid. One that does perhaps decent against OD. Sniper is always kind of a
Dire
candidate,
team
but he's
back.
not one we really see right now on the competitive scene.
There's the puck bomb.
There's
That
the
was a
puck
little
there.
bit to be expected. We could see still a Terrorblade coming out for Vega. Not bad yet, really good option for them. It's a little bit greedy against the Abaddon, but I think they can make it work with the sustain from the Warlock as well as having the Omni Knight around in the mid game.
10
There's
seconds
not really
remaining.
many options left, and I'm pretty sure Vega is certain that FlyToMoon
5
is not going
seconds
to Terrorblade
remaining.
themselves. So we're going to see the Void Bomb for FlyToMoon.
Yeah,
Get as much team fight out of there as possible.
Interesting. Really is interesting with the. Okay, no, face the void banned by them. Okay, that makes more sense actually. So now Fly to the Moon. What mid
10
options do they
seconds
have? I mean,
remaining.
Queen of Pain is still there, as far as a more of a magic
5
damage dealing
seconds remaining.
core to take advantage of. Lena is there. She's kind of been picking up some steam lately.
Could see a Viper coming out.
Radiant team pick.
Lena.
Leaner. Good
There's
call.
Lena. Yeah, she's been making more and more appearances here. They have great setup for Lena with Rubik Sand King. And definitely one that's going to just scale very well throughout the game, too. So Vega has their work cut out for them. They're safe lane
10
now.
seconds remaining.
Expect to be their final pick. Lifestealer is always an option, I feel. He's not banned, right? Yeah,
5
Lifestealer's
seconds
there.
remaining.
Especially now with that Lena pick, that could be even more willing.
Could be a good defensive. It's not too bad against the Abaddon as well. It's decent against the Bear. However, I don't think that's their really late game option. If they go with the Lifestealer, they have to kind of bring the aggression from Vega. And considering how many stuns you're up against, as well as an Abaddon who's pretty confident at sitting in front of his towers with his team behind, I don't think that going too aggressive early on is an option for Vega. I think they want to go for that reliable late game and then just utilize the Warlock Omni Knight together with DoD. Okay. I'm sticking with Terrorblade, even there's a Lena on the field. Well, it's
Now
practically a
select your
Terrorblade.
heroes.
Let's troll Warlord instead. Okay.
We have been trolled.
Yeah, you could say it that way, sure. Why the troll, though? I mean, Whirling Axe is a nice tool to have against a hero like Alina, who, especially in the later game, she's just attacking like crazy and more mist to be coming out, so potentially the idea there, and also maybe a hero for also setting up more of the early game, pushing objectives, take advantage of a Lone Druid sitting back and farming, I guess, what they're going with,
Yeah,
but
I must say, you also have the added benefit that you have to throw Warlord with DoD, which is an insane amount of damage output if DoD gets buffed up by Repel, especially in teamfight. Just being quick, being
10
able to quickly
seconds
burst down the
remaining.
Leaner or burst down even the Lone Druid Bear, or Lone Druid himself, would
5
be a
seconds
great option for them in
remaining.
a teamfight. They all benefit from high attack speed. They have to compensate a little bit because Lena is on the field, which is good against the Dark Will as well as the Omni Knight. But just having the Troll Warlock running around, he's probably going to go Battle Fury. Yeah, they're known to, well, pretty much everybody is known to go Battle Fury on any potential melee hero, even though he's the only half melee. But I like the Troll in the laning phase, especially against the Abaddon.
yeah, I haven't seen enough trolls. In fact, I actually can't even recall the last game I personally have casted a troll in this last month here. So I'm not exactly sure what to expect when it comes to that build. The potential Battle Fury is mentioned. It seems like Battle Fury is still pretty relevant, but it has died off. I'm looking at a game from the finals. Vega Squadron did play him in the finals against Spirit, and yeah, he did go that Battle Fury actually, as you pointed out there. So definitely something to expect from him. So pause to start, but gives us time to talk more about what we see here. See another team asking a reason. Lone Druid. Now I know nowadays you really expect to see the bear build. Is there any reason why the ranged build potentially could be better here this game, you think, or is it just going to be the obvious bear build?
I think it's going to be the obvious bear build. Don't think it's an option, not really if you're up against the Troll Warlord. So many passive damage instances. You have to deal with a Warlock Golem, you have to deal with a Dark Willow with high magic burst, so you want that bear as a buffer in front, just to keep them away, so they don't just run on top of you, especially with the Troll. It's, yeah, probably a really standard build on all heroes. I actually don't see them going particularly too aggressive early on. They probably want to develop their Abaddon as much as possible, and just go for extremely traditional builds, if not the Abaddon going for carry.
Yeah.
That might be something exciting we will see.
Yeah, getting the bear build though, because already having the Radiance, a Lone Druid. So honestly, something like Heaven's Halberd this game feels really strong for Fly to the Moon, both against OD and Troll Warlord for that matter. disarming them, the evasion that it brings to the table. Definitely a tool that maybe, just maybe, Abaddon could look to prioritize here. Wouldn't be out of the question. Instead being more of that utility even. And obviously the Solar's Crest, etc. Things like that to help against this hard right-click hitting of Vega Squadron. What they're bringing to the table.
Yeah, one thing I spotted out as well, Ziyech is actually going for null talisman on the Dark Wheel early on. So probably position 4 will, if not something really fancy coming out. That's usually not the starting build you have.
Yeah.
You probably want more region.
Well, I know a popular build on some Dark Willows is that, wow, I'm totally blanking on the name now, I can't believe it. Vela Discord. Anyways, Vela Discord, pretty popular for the hero, and with this lineup, it's okay, you know, the Warlock synergy. It's not that great, though, between OD and Troll as your core, so I don't know, maybe not, but you're all right. The only crazy thing I could say, like I said, like an offlane Dark Willow, maybe a support Omni Knight, but from who's playing it, and actually you already have the Buckler, or the Stout Shield, excuse me, on Omni Knight, yeah, it leads me to believe it's going to be more typical with the Omni and the offlane, of course.
Yeah, they might feel comfortable just giving Troll Warlock one of the supports, just let Slayer sit at bottom and just spam out the Shadow Word. So they have the reliable heal, and then just go a little bit more aggressive, pressure the lane druid as much as possible. I think they identified the laning situation from FlyToMoon quite efficiently. They're just gonna play around it. Obviously, these teams know each other pretty well, so it's expected we're gonna see a lot of mind games.
Yeah. Come on, teams, let's go. We thought we were ready.
Passed.
Thought we were ready, and then we were not. A pause once again. So, again, a chance to go to the minor though on the line here for these two teams. So understandable. Want to make sure everything is good to go. Some recent history. Yeah, this FlyToMoon team has been really interesting to kind of watch their progression. It's a very newer team, and you know, I kind of go back to they had that run though at the Epicenter Madness qualifier. So all of a sudden they qualify for a major tournament out of nowhere. It feels like. And now people are starting to pay more attention to these guys for good reason. So,
as they should. It's a really great stack. I mean, so you guys seen this known for that you can basically mash 5 players together, and they're gonna have at least a really good team. Simply because there's so many good pro players in the scene right now. But I like this stack. Like they have natural synergy from the get-go, I would say, and exciting drafts as well. I mean, we're looking at like Alina coming back into meta. There's a lone druid on the lineup. They picked an Abaddon and a second pick.
Yeah,
they're really confident. They don't seem to struggle a lot with those fancy picks.
Ooh, bottom lane. They roamed in here as 4. Troll Warrior though he's keeping back just enough with Dark Willow, and so no first blood coming out. Instead, the Vision game. At least they put a sentry over here. I don't know. Did they actually counter something? I don't know if I saw any counter ward happening. So not sure exactly. That sentry, but Dark Will is going to run after Abaddon. Try not to let him get that bounty room, but with the positioning, looks like it is going to be taken by the Dire Side, and Dire Side potentially going to get 3 bounty runes here, actually. Lone Druid against Omni at the top lane. If he can grab that. No, he's actually going to run in circles. Yeah, he's going to play it safe, it looks like. Oh, maybe not. Going back in. Okay, Omni will pick it up, though. So it's going to end up being a 2 for 2.
I'll take your
a little bit of damage on the bear on. They're gonna have a really comfortable offlane with the Omni Knight, I would say. It's not the best laning you up against Omni Knight against the lane druid because you have 2 nasty targets you have to deal with. However, with the Warlock actually sticking around, they should have enough sustain or enough harass damage to effectively win Omni Knight the early game. Yeah, always want to fly already rotating in to help out the lane druid, identifying, yeah, that Warlock is gonna stay top and he's gonna annoy Sergeant.
You see Warlock going to show himself here. I'm sure he's going to get Shadow Word early on. Start applying that, or maybe Fatal Bonds, actually. No, this is going to be the Shadow Word. And Rubik, though, coming over, so it turns into that 2 versus 2 lane. Keep an eye on that there. But, yeah, OD versus the Lina in the middle lane. A fun matchup here. And any insight you think as far as who should win this matchup? Or
I think Iceberg should be able to snatch a win just barely in the mid lane, but it's ultimately comes down to the player skill level. It's gonna be a good matchup, that's for sure. But we have Rubik and Sun King, 2 stunts from FlyToMoon, so they might have something to say about this mid lane, while the rotation potential from Vega is not as big.
I feel like Iceberg as a player is definitely one from the CIS region that I've always been impressed with. I'm actually blanking on it. Maybe he actually used to play on Vega Squadron, now that I think about it. But he's been around a bit and definitely one that stands out as far as mid heroes or mid players go in the CIS. So yeah, excited to see how he does on Lina here against Undershock. Of course, playing the OD. Right now it's a 7-2 Lina versus a 6-0 OD, so very even so far. Bottom lane, Dark Willow, he's probably dead. Yep, no fear, picks it up. Final hit, so not much more Troll can do at that point.
That's the issue of the Dark Willow still being level 1. You don't have to get out of gang 3 card with the Shadow Realm. So just falling victim to Avalon, just running people down. And Avalon is really good at that.
Curse of Avernus to just run at her. So yeah, you mentioned level 1 still with that Bramble Maze.
Dire's middle tower
Wants to get level 2 now, if anything, just to make sure that doesn't happen again with that Shadow Realm. Gonna pick up the Illusion Rune and see Sand King as he walks by to go get the bounty. But top lane, Omni Knight again gonna be lifted up, taking some damage here. Lone Druid 9-4, Omni 5-0. So Lone Druid is having the better so far up at the top lane. But as the levels start adding up, I do wonder, with Warlock here and the Omni, is that potentially going to be Warlock? You see him setting the bear back, actually, as it does get very low there. So he's actually just going to summon a new one, yeah.
Yeah, Warlock just naturally having high base damage as well as having the Fatal Bonds available just to put it on the bear. It's a high HP target as well as 15 high crit base, so they should be comfortable just harassing the bear down whenever they can. Together with the Omni Knight, they don't really fall victim to any big harass damage because they have the double sustain with 2 heals coming out. Really looking stable looking at the top lane. Omni Knight is not getting as many last hits right now, but I think they benefit more from the levels and actually restricting the Lone Druid to not getting as many.
That's the idea here. So again, still not 100% information just yet as far as the build of Lone Druid and what he's going to be going for. So far, just simply power treads. It looks like potentially coming, or actually maybe the Hand of Midas is something.
It should be a Midas.
Okay. So boots into that gloves for the Hand of Midas, yeah.
If FlyToMoon wants to go to the really late game, I would say, because they don't really have a lineup who can push tires quite well early on. They have the Lone Druid bear, but that's more of like a mid game where you finish up your first big item, then maybe go towards that AC early on. I feel like the pushing potential comes out from Vega the most with the Troll.
Well, it looks like Lina's definitely having a pretty good time in the middle lane, sending OD all the way back to base, actually, to get some regen here. And you see the CS 20-5 against now a 15-3 OD, so starting to take a little bit of a lead. Is Iceberg early on, but here comes back OD, who does have an infused raindrop for good reason, of course, but Sand King. That's an Invis rune. Is it enough damage? I mean, Iceberg with the combo. We're gonna find out here. He's being blocked a little bit. LSA does come out. Dragon Slave hits, but yeah, as I kind of figured, it wasn't gonna be enough damage actually.
Yeah, it instantly just selves up. The raindrop really saved his life over there. He's gonna stick around with no fear, and more pressure on the AD is always appreciated. But the Abaddon is gonna get zoned out bottom, even though he noticed the Bramble Maze.
He's fine. Good aphotic shield to get himself out, worst case. Simply runs away. Troll Warlord, though, yeah, 22-4 is good, but the fact that Abaddon is basically keeping up CS, and you look at CS overall, it's 3 of the 4 right now belonging on the Dire side, so pretty good for Flight of the Moon, and actually, Troll is fine. They're not going to overcommit to this. Abaddon doesn't have the most to work with just yet. No borrowed time, of course, so not going to go too deep here.
Yeah, on the other hand, there's no big lockdown from Vega, so he should always be able to just run away as long as he doesn't get caught up in a Bramble Maze, especially because the Dark World is just about to hit level 3, so no early Curse Crown available, and as long as you have that shield, you should not get stunned up on this lane at all.
That makes sense, yeah. And actually, Dark Willow, she still hasn't leveled up Shadowrun. There you go. Sitting on a couple of points, actually. She still is sitting on another one. We talked about maybe just waiting to see if the Curse Crown could potentially come into play, but they're going to find Sand King. Abaddon is nearby. Bramble Maze goes down. Where's the Aphotic Shield? Not used just yet. There's a Curse Crown. Aphotic Shield comes out at the last second. He's just sitting in that Sandstorm. And Dark Willow will have to be careful. Yeah, they don't have vision, obviously. They can't really do anything about that.
You would assume he's stunned, right? And then, nope, nothing happened. Just gets away with a cheeky Sandstorm on Iger. Actually leveling up the Sandstorm over the course of the final.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting. We've seen 1 point against Troll and an Omni Knight. with two not as fast heroes early on. But going for the Sandstorm build, potentially just farming up in the jungle once the lanes come down a little bit. Not many kills yet to be seen.
Well, they don't really have the best, I mean, a perfect example right there. The best way to deal with Sandstorm. Obviously, Vision will change that, but as far as if he happens to get there with no Vision, then good to go. Oh, yeah, middle lane. Lina managing to be fine for now. The Curse Crown going to proc, though. Going for the Laguna Blade of turn on OD. Not enough damage, though, as he falls back, and so will the Dark Willow with the Shadow Realm. However, he's cut off by Sand King. Coming in the flank. So finishing the job and ultimately a turn there for FlyToMoon. That middle.
Yeah, and if you're having excellent positioning, just catching the out of off guard there a little bit. He almost saved himself with the one magic one charge, but not after all. And follow-up smoke from Iceberg and No Fear. So the double stun combination is available, and they're gonna run into Slayer. Nope. What is?
He's going to be spotted first. But yeah, bottom lane Troll actually has to be a little careful. No Laguna Blade, of course. But they still have plenty of damage. Laguna Blade or not. Dragon Slave to open. Troll's going to start running away. 7 charges on that wand currently. So that could come into play. Throws the Whirling Axis out for some missed chance, but there's just way too much magic damage.
It's not the heat, it's the
So
humiliation.
good run down there. Top lane, meanwhile, Bramble Maze hitting initially on a Silent. He's now trying to juke and jive, has the bear to assist. Got the Entangle initially on Dark Willow, coming out of that Shadow Realm. Not going to be enough damage, though. Another Entangle, this one on Omni Knight now, turning his attention to Dark Willow with No Fear porting in, and a turn kill is real for FlyToMoon. Well played there by Silent.
Yeah, just straight turn, dodging pretty much anything available. And since there was no stirring on the Omni Knight, they really only had one purification in the fight. He's not as farmed yet, only sitting on 24 last hits. It's not too bad, he has a good amount of levels considering that they were dual laning early on. But you ideally want to have that soul ring up, and just so you can reliably spam a purification, especially against the bear, because you have to bring the pressure to the lone druid. Otherwise, he's just gonna farm away with his Midas in the jungle, and he's one of the heroes that can always go into the jungle.
Bottom, Abaddon sitting on that borrowed time point. He's going to use it here and look for the turn on to Troll, but you know, just the Warlock, just the Ribbon, excuse me, not enough to be had. Warlock throwing in that Shadow Word as well to heal up Troll for the time being. So borrowed time is on cooldown for a little bit. Abaddon,
Radiant
careful with that.
are fortified.
But still an early 3,000 net worth lead, looking pretty strong for FlyToMoon. Been a comfortable growth in their favor pretty much the whole game. Not changing here. So is the Radiant team doing something wrong, you think? Hold that thought. Middle lane. This could be the beginning of a comeback early on. Never mind.
As long as you keep me alive, I'll put
She
up
will
with all
stay
this
again.
spiritual mode.
Yeah.
Does perfect shields, just ruining all the ganks so far.
But yeah, in your
I
mind,
had
is,
a nice idea.
do you think
actually
Vega-
drawing an iceberg on Lina? Just baiting him out, trying to overcommit him with the Laguna Blade, and almost getting turned, but Abaddon is there once more, and just prevailing there. Yeah, but back to your thought.
so yeah, Radiant side, I mean, they're down 4,000 net worth lead now. It's 0-4 as far as hero kills go. Is there something they're doing wrong, you think? Is there something they should be doing differently?
Well, I think they should bring it more aggression, but what tools do you really have on Vega Squadron? You might have a Dark Willow who is a little bit under level, only sitting on level 4. You have a Warlock not reaching level 6 yet, so there's a time available in 3 seconds, so nobody's gonna pick it up. Both of the supports actually have good level 6. No one yet, nobody feels comfortable taking it up, so it's still discussing probably, but you want the levels. You want to rotate around. Omni Knight now finished up the Soul Ring. You want to bring aggression once you have those big ultimates, and then just snowball the fights. So you might get an OD hammer on like level 8 or something. You have the Warlock ult to work with. You have the Omni Knight just to run at them, and then you can just make space for your Troll in the jungle. They have a little bit of stacks in the jungle going on, but not really that much. So they really have to pressure those towers early on.
Lone Druid, look at this build. Has his headdress finished. It looks like he's actually going to Helm of the Dominator. As far as early his first build, so no Hand of Midas here. Said Helm of the Dominator wants just the minion to work with and help push objectives. But I want to say it's not your usual build. I mean, maybe I'm missing something very recently here, but this is pretty unique, it feels like, from Lone Druid.
Yeah, that's definitely not something you see very often. Iceberg this time, no shield available.
Finally.
Oh, we're just
Radiant
getting
team
started.
gets on the board, and that's probably the best target to do it against outside of Lone Druid, of course. As the collapse this time works on Alina, no Abaddon TP to help her out, but
Radiant's top tower is
We've been
under
working on a
attack.
Yules, by the way, for our
Radiant's
first
top
item
tower has fallen.
this game. Is Yules make sense to you?
Yeah, definitely. You need a defensive spell. There's a Purification Termite. There's a Warlock ult you can indulge in. It gives you a good setup for Dark Willow. If you manage to catch her with the Yules, she's almost guaranteed death. They have perfect vision at bottom.
Yeah, I've been watching this down here. It's kind of been brewing for a while, but the Radiant team, they have a response. In fact, Undershock gonna Prism it open, but now with Lena nearby as well. That's gonna be a run queue for the Radiant side. Slayer is gonna just hug the tower. You see, actually, Troll, he's already TP'd out, actually. Oh, they're going further. They're going to catch the Dark Willow. Has that Shadow Realm. Not off in time, though.
Radiant's bottom
And
tower
she gets
is
caught.
under
No fear
attack.
credit for the kill. This is easily going to be a tier 1 bottom tower here for the Dire Squad.
Especially with this rotation. They're not gonna defend this. Not with the lane druid around. Just barely catching the Willow with the Light Strike array.
Radiant
No Yules
structures
needed.
are fortified.
Warlock, level 6, though. He's sitting nearby with a Chaotic Offering, but there's no way. In fact, oh my god, he denies a tower now.
Has been denied.
So it's one of those
Dire's
cases,
top tower
is it
is
worth
under
I mean, he's
attack.
going to die for this. 100%.
I mean, with
so.
the recent
Dire's
change to the
structures are
how it's calculated, how much net worth you give away when they change it, I think it's really worth it.
Double.
You deny a
Radiant's
lot
middle
of
tower
lot
is
of money
under attack.
coming out for the entire team
Radiant
of FlyToMoon.
structures are fortified.
Might as well go for the
Dire's
deny
top
and give it a
tower
shot.
is under
You could have
attack.
been lucky, like maybe even get out of it. Of course, there was the lane druid in play, so almost not an option. You see more weird items coming out for Silent. He has the helm of the Dominate. He's now looking for Dragon
Radiant's
Lance
middle tower
plus an
is under
Airstream.
attack.
Oh, terrorize
Going to
middle
be
lane.
the
Lena's going to be fine. They will cut off the Dark Willow, though. Obviously, you always want to fly. Steal that
Radiant's
Purification to
bottom
finish the
tower
job, and now
is
he's trying to
under
run.
attack.
Another Purification. No, he doesn't have mana for it now anymore due to OD. Going to put him under with the Astral Prism. Out comes a Chaotic Offering. Now Iceberg going to drop because of that. Ends up being a double kill there for OD. So very good run
Radiant
there from Vega
structures are
Squadron.
fortified.
As they get a couple of key kills in the middle lane, meanwhile. Bottom. Yeah, Helm of the Dominator with that Mud Golem running at Troll, but
Dire's
back it
middle
off.
tower is under attack.
We see Vega struggling to fight the farm on the Troll Wall. He's only now starting with his Battle Fury Demon Edge in reach about 700 gold. Looking at the net worth, he's sitting barely in the top 5. Omnia just behind him, but it's a lane druid dominating that end of chart together with the leader. And it's only a D actually keeping on par with the farm, and even he does not have that much. He's about to finish up the 4-staff. I can imagine they want to go for as many 4-staff as possible in their team. Jump's gonna finish up on Omni Knight in about a minute. So really still setting up their core items. It feels like they were set back around 5 minutes with the item timing so far. And what they should be doing 5 minutes ago, they only do now because they lack the levels to go for ganks.
Dire's middle tower
so it is going to be the
under
ranged
attack.
build on Lone Druid, and again, as I said, it's one of those cases. Middle lane, by the way, Lena. She's going to be run at, and not much more she can do here to survive. Rubik's nearby, but yeah, they just literally ran at her with 4 heroes and with the Bramble Maze. Nowhere to go at that point, but going back to Lone Druid, going ranged with the Helm of the Dominator, as we already mentioned. He's going that Maelstrom Dragonlance now. Apparently, this has been something that's being done at the Dream League event, I guess, pretty recently right here. So, kind of living recent history.
It's just gonna run away from 4 heroes. Is this
Yeah.
just what we do on Lone Druid now?
He's fine.
We just blame like Razor.
I mean, he's going to lose the bear, but he has another summon. And actually, it's bottled this time for response. Yeah, Sand King's going to come in. The repels put up on Troll at least. Nice terrorize on multiple heroes, banished in the back lines. From OD, does catch Abaddon, but Abaddon's not going to let that bother him too much. Running after them with the drums. Now Dark Willow, Shadow Realm, nice Pearl Strike on both, though. Omni Knight's caught. He still has a GA. They are going to lose the Warlock so far. As there's a heal up on Sand King. Borrow time is popped here by Abaddon. The LSA connects. Out comes the GA, but with the Lacuna Blade. Oh, it's going to put himself under. For now, and try to survive. The GA is stolen by Rubik, by the way, using it in response. They're going to run down OD. Omni Knight puts on Repel, but was too much right click. A double kill for Iceberg. And yeah, you can just see Fly to the Moon with that response and how Lone Druid was running initially right there. That felt like I was going to set up, potentially like it did.
Radiant's
you would
bottom
expect with the
tower
vision
has
advantage
fallen.
Vega had, they go for a more defensive kind of setup. They had a wall over here in the jungle. They saw the entire rotation coming in. They were confident that they can save the troll with the repel and the guardian angel, but suddenly the Omnight ran out of mana and he missed like 2 seconds on the soul ring and the entire turn came around. So all their spells were a little bit off, and with no Warlock Golem available, they're sure to lose these fights. They have no big ultimates up. Warlock was on cooldown. There's still no Sanity's Eclipse coming from the OD due to the lack of levels, and their troll is in just no position to fight. So, really well executed from FlyToMoon actually.
Radiant
As we saw, just lane druid running away. He's playing his lane druid like you would play a gyrocopter or a razor.
And it's working. 175 attack range, and obviously we'll see how that continues as far as the talent build goes. But 175 attack range alone, that's quite a lot to work with. Him and Lina going to be really rapid damage from a distance in this game. And yeah, they will kill Roshan for free right there. Meanwhile, Sand King goes down. Dark Willow going to overcommit for this, though. Can't get the terrorize off. Omni Knight nearly living. Well, does live with Laguna Blade. You see Lone Druid is trying to keep close enough for a couple more auto attacks, but cannot get in range. However, going to transition into the mid tier 2 tower now. Lina, by the way, the one to pick up the Aegis at this point. So, tier 2, it's going to fall.
They have Abaddon to ride if it's a Survivor side. It's fairly tanky on Lone Druid with the bear in front. They have so much pushing power. They have a Stone Catapult as well. This is where the dominated push comes in.
Radiant's middle tower.
This is tier 3 tower, just getting a lot of damage done.
No sorceries avail.
17 minutes into the game only.
Omni Knight.
Dire's
Oh,
top
Repel.
tower is
Can't
under
you just see
attack.
so much physical, though? Even with Repel, yeah, the Stolen Repel, that's obviously one of the better tools to take for Rubik. Throwing that up on Lina initially. They take tier 3. And now the shrines are exposed. They'll be happy with that. You can just tell FlyToMoon is just playing. They're playing like clockwork here. It seems like they're making the right decisions across the board, and they're playing very fluid right now.
Invisibility.
Yeah, No Fear wasn't even in that fight. He was sitting at top. He was farming with Sandstorm. So just being as confident, just pushing with 4 heroes onto the high ground for you, and like a 10k lead at 18 minutes, and can't get the pick from Fear. No Fear.
To you, my loyalty.
Omni Knight,
With the
Jerome's
classic
build
thanks.
for him. Yeah, how is Troll building here? I haven't really looked at him too much. The Battle Fury, oh boy. He's almost has it at least.
Yeah, he almost has it, but in 18 minutes, this is subpar in terms of item timing. And this was due to the fact that they pretty much lost any fight they were facing. They had a good couple of ganks early on, but the Abaddon proved too strong in lane frame, and he couldn't reliably last it once the laning phase started branching out a little bit with the supports leaving the lane. Now you're starting to keep up, and Troll is not one of the heroes you usually want to be behind with. You want to really be on top of the enemy, you want to eliminate the supports in the fight, and then retreat from the fight, go back to farming, and leave the rest to your team, but they just can't, they just can't catch a Breaky, it seems like. And now they rotated 4 heroes to the top, potentially even losing your Willow if they are lucky.
No, the fear. I say the Pearl Strike was obviously on cooldown to use that initially, so a good attempt there, no doubt, from Willow, but wasn't to be. Good Savage Roar.
Yeah, this was a smoke gang with 4 people committing to the top lane, then
Radiant's
pushing
top
into a
shrine
push
is
on the
under
top and
attack.
not even getting remotely damaged down on the T1 tower, just to the fact that they were rotating in just slightly, not even committing to a fight from
Radiant's
FlyToMoon,
top
and that just
tower
shows
is
how
under
far ahead
attack.
they really are.
So we look at Abaddon right here. By the way, what's up top? That's Troll cutting the creep wave, or at least trying to. Sand King's hunting him down,
Radiant's top
meanwhile.
tower
He's going to
has
blind stun. He'll completely whiff.
That should help.
He tried, but Troll being a distraction. The
Radiant's
fact that the
top
Radiant team
shrine is
also
under
doesn't
attack.
have a tier 1 tower dead yet at 20 minutes is definitely something, too. Just realizing that here.
Radiant's top shrine has
what was I
fallen.
gonna
They
say?
really can't get any network on the board with that, and that's
Yeah.
due to lack of the pushing power. If your Troll is behind, what do they have? They have an OD hitting tires, which is one of the worst heroes to actually hit tires in like ever. Omni Knight not really good at it either. I might find No Fear here. He's just gonna burst on and run away.
Yeah, I was going to say, I know Fear, he's the one that
Where is
finds
he?
them and then just escapes, actually. He's got a blink. Bramble Maze? I mean, they know he's over here. We'll blink away, though, and he's good for now. He's been a distraction. Space created, as we like to say. Going back to Abaddon, though, he is going to be going the Heaven's Halberd, it looks like. We've been talking about the Solar Crest and the potential of the Heaven's Halberd this game, and sure enough, Abaddon, he agrees. It is pretty strong against these cores here.
Purification.
I could still see an SNY coming out from him instead.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that is potential
under
too.
attack.
Chaotic offering into a Terrorize, by the way. This is a big chance here for the Radiant side to make some plays. Entity's Eclipse doesn't get kills initially. They will finish off Rubik, but here's the response now as Nangarada is just sitting on top of Troll Warley, getting him to fall back. GA is coming out from Omni Knight, however, running down Lone Druid. Lone Druid just out of distance. Oh, Fatal Pause will take him down. Iceberg's going to fall here, but the Aegis brings him right back up, but they lose the Lone Druid. It's going to be Lina and Sand King
Radiant
versus the whole team still of the Radiant side. Curse Ground Epicenter being channeled up by No Fear. He's going to go back in, no. Realize on the Radiant side they retreated for now. Now stunning, going to blink away and buy time for a getaway of Iceberg. But finally, we see Vega Squadron connecting on a couple of different fronts, and they win that fight.
Yeah, that was all due to Slayer's initiation. Perfect fatal balls on 4 heroes to get them with the wall column. Then the fear, so they all have to run away while the AD was laying 9 damage with Patrol. This is the perfect teamfight execution. Due to the fact that No Fear wasn't in the teamfight initially, and then even having the perfect backup from Vega, and if the fight concludes in the middle of just drawing back and not running into an epicenter, it really looked super solid. And if they pull this up a couple more times, they could
Dire's
come back
middle
into this game
tower is
fairly
under
easily.
attack.
This is AD Troll at its finest.
Definitely can. Lina, though, finishing a Bloodstone. Now has the full 14 charges. Good to go right here. So this is, of course, going to be a key moment as top lane, by the way. Sand King trying to escape once again. Curse Crown. That'll help secure it there. Undershock's running after him with that Hurricane Pike, who is now also building into a Blink, so he's going to have plenty of mobility to work with. And again, does have the Troll Aura to
Dire's
take advantage
top
of the
tower
ultimate,
is under
specifically the
attack.
Battle Trance, to help with his lack of damage in his build so far, perhaps.
Dire's structures are
going
falling.
He can go for full utility items. No, wouldn't be surprised if we see the BKB coming out for AD just immediately afterwards. They can't really rely on repel
Dire's
hitting
top
triggers.
tower
Oh, and gets a
has
punish.
fallen.
Oh, Slayer? Nope. They're gonna bail out of this one.
Well, Abaddon wants to run after them, but the Bramble Maze making it difficult. And the Radiant side will be able to retreat. Dark Willow does have a TP as well. Yeah, she'll be fine. Odie's still hanging around. I mean, he too has a TP, but he's going to cut the creep wave here. Figuring they've already gone elsewhere. And he would actually be correct, so yeah, you're definitely right. I mean, this is a makeup here of a team for Vega Squadron that, oh, actually, all the Thakka's top lane. Did Undershock bite off a little bit more than he can chew here? Doesn't look like it. He now will actually TP out, as will the Dark Willow. So again, more distraction from the Radiant team. But yeah, OD Troll goes back to what you're saying. This is definitely a core combo with the Omni Knight backup especially. You do not want to let them climb back in this game and last a bit longer. It does feel like that Flight of the Moon would definitely prefer to finish this game sooner than later at this rate. Going up against.
Yeah, they can't really afford going any further. Not with the Lone Druid range build. I think they purposely built on it just so they can use the Abaddon as soon as they have the pushing power. And we saw them taking down the T1 mid, T3 mid. Ooh, division though. They know they're here.
Yeah, big chance. Dark Willow, though, she's going to be open now. She was way too far up there. Another great Chaotic offering, though, with the Fatal Bonds. Spreading some decent damage. You see the Chaotic offering, though, it gets killed off pretty quickly. The Golem there, and they also run down Warlock. So this time not as pretty for Vega Squadron with their initiation.
Step from the
There's only the piece of clips from Medina. No big fight on the main.
OD, Repel is up, allowing him to sit in the front lines, or is it, though? Again, so much right click. Gonna play nuking down Omni Knight. He popped the GA. Gonna keep alive just barely for the time being, able to force staff away and survive for now. Dark Willow's up in 10 seconds. Again, Warlock obviously fought back. He doesn't have his offering, though, so what is he really doing right here? There's that stolen GA yet again. Welcome to Rubik versus Omni Knight. And they're just going to use that to push into more of the base of the Radiant side. OD's dead for 50 seconds. Troll doing what he can now. Has Battle Trance still. But the Bear's just sitting in his face. And I know it's not the Bear build, but that's still annoying in itself. Nonetheless, and now Dark Willow, Shadow Realm, keeping it alive at the time being. The LSA does connect. Savage Roar as well. Dark Willow going to be coming out soon. Not the most life to work with. Does make it back to the fountain, though. Great Terrorize actually on top of that. Troll Willow trying to find a target to go for. He will find Sand King. He gets another one on Lone Druid, actually. So this is looking decent now for Vega Squadron all of a sudden. Is Flight of the Moon getting overextended here as they start to fall back?
And again, just Willow doing one spell. Just terrorize on 4 heroes with the Fatal Bonds. Fatal Bonds is the real MVP so far in this these
Radiant's
lineups.
middle barracks
Just
are under attack.
Slayer really doing a lot of
Dire's
damage. I
bottom
don't know how
tower
much he's
is under
actually sitting in
attack.
that fight, but Fight Recap doesn't like me right now. It's just they overextend just a little bit from FlyToMoon, and even without the Warlock Golem, they face so much damage, and they did
Nice burn.
only get to T3 tower, which isn't that much of a problem. Yeah, it sure sucks losing one of your T3s, but it's not a rank, so they
Dire's
already had
bottom
one
tower
down, so
is
there's
under
only the
attack.
shrines were opened up anyways. I feel like only 11k net worth lead. It's going a little bit back in favor of Vega. Still struggling to find the comeback, but they have the troll with the farm amplifier on the battlefield. SMY finished up. He's going for the BKB next, and once he finishes that, he should have enough sustainability against the high physical damage output from Lone Druid and Lina.
Yeah.
I feel like they have definitely the potential to just come back into this game, but they have to watch out for the BKB times on FlyToMoon. Lina is building one. Not on Lone Druid yet. It's the whole bit completed indeed, so he does, he put the Medallion of Courage apart from the Zeta Crest.
Yeah. Again, the evasion and the disarm in this game especially is going to be pretty key against the Chorus on the Radiant side again. Lone Druid going the Hurricane Pike instead, and definitely see that especially with this ranged build over the BKB, keeping his distance as much as he can. Going to clear out some of the jungle, moving with the team, but Roshan is back up. This is a second Roshan now, so cheese to be
Perfect
dropped.
timing.
Any smokes coming out yet? Yep, Dare team, they've all smoked as 5. Running over here, the Alpha Wolf nearby as well, enhancing damage. Radiant team, I mean, they're ready to fight though, so this is going to be an interesting opening. Rubik gets exposed right there. Falling back, Curse Crown comes out. There's a Glimmer Cave for the time being. Sand King stuns in. Troll Willard in the front lines. Terrorize on top of the Chaotic Offering once again with the Fatal Bonds. Spreading that damage. Purification stolen by Rubik, by the way. Troll's dying alone. Druid runs away at the last second. Will survive for the time being. The Golem is going to be taken out as No Fear jumps on top of Odie with the Epicenter and Undershock. He goes down in the back lines. They took out Omni Knight. And this time again, FlyToMoon wins the fight. They're going to transition nicely into Roshan. I mean, it looked pretty that time for Vega with the Terrorize Chaotic Offering once again, but just not enough.
Dire's top tower
Yeah, but they
is
couldn't
under
find
attack.
the key targets with this.
Roshan has
So everybody is
fallen
fairly
to the down.
tanky. Ideally, they want to take like Sand King, Rubik, Lina out of the fight before they really snowball. After that was completed, with the BKB up on the Lina, there was just nothing he could do anymore after the Terrorize. Yeah, 70 Eclipse wasn't even dropped due to
Radiant's
Deep having to
middle barracks
reposition
are
himself on
under
the high ground, then running into his Sand King,
Dire's
just getting
top
straight up
tower is
annihilated
under
by him.
attack.
It just really feels like they're doing everything right
Radiant's
on
middle
FlyToMoon here.
barracks has fallen.
Blink
Radiant's
Dagger just
middle
purchased by
barracks are
Troll
under
Warlord,
attack.
so wants
Radiant's
to be able to
middle
get in there
barracks has
and with that
fallen.
mobility, but
Dire's
this time now,
bottom tower
defending the
is
racks,
under
very
attack.
difficult task. The top also going to fall, so
Radiant's
FlyToMoon
top
getting
tower
plenty
is
out of this. Now again, falling back. Lina, 19 charges on the Bloodstone. She does have the Aegis, says Great Hurricane Pike. Should secure this kill. But again, what will it mean in the long run? Plantimos on Troll. He's having to pop Whirling Axes and run, as he's at about a third of his life here. So FTM, they just want to keep this going though. They're going to go right to the bottom. They're trying to finish the game right here and right now. With this 18,000 net worth lead, LSA, Repel will mitigate it. But Iceberg still doing plenty. Physical, of course, Troll caught in the back lines with the Sand King. But it seems like it's a little bit too much for FlyToMoon, and this time they are going to realize that and back off. Again, now with the two melee racks being killed, they're not necessarily in as much of a rush anymore.
Radiant's bottom shrine
Yeah,
is
they
under
only need
attack.
one last attempt at the bottom ranks. They can always slay siege, and so far we've seen the Sun King doing
Radiant's
just that
bottom
as well.
shrine has fallen.
It feels like they have more power coming to these pushes. The only thing you have to watch out for is the big combination from Vega. We saw Troll blinking in on the leader, and Lina's like, you know what, I'm just gonna run away. Thank you, I don't want to fight. And just having face boots as well as the Yield Scepter, just she's hard to catch, especially if those fiery soul stacks come to play. I feel like Vega is a lot sent back, and not getting the BKB next on the Palantimos on the Troll means you have to rely on the Repel, which means Omni Knight needs to expose himself even more. He feels the pressure. He's going into the Aghanims on the Omni Knight just so he can stay a little bit more on the back. I still see the potential from Vega. If they drop everything on FlyToMoon, we might see a complete team wipe with without anything committed.
Yeah.
While they lost the entire set of racks in the mid lane, they still have at least the range racks top, so they have something. Let's just say they still have 4 towers to take, which is a lot of passive net worth on the board. So if they manage to get it, if they manage to team wipe like FlyToMoon once, they have a little bit of stuff to take before they reach the high ground.
Yeah, it's not 100% over just yet. Good reason why they're not just throwing in the towel here, but Sand King gonna start things off for now. Quickly 4-staff back, and that's something I've noticed as well for the Dire scene. They have 3 4-staffs now, including that Hurricane Pike and Lone Druid. They have Abaddon himself. They just have so much save to work with, making it extra difficult for Troll and OD to sit on their targets of choice here in the back line. So Repel will be put up on Troll, but again, he really can't do much with it. As the Bear, like I said, despite not going the Bear build, the Bear is still doing plenty. He's still a nuisance in those front lines. Maybe killed off here, but Lone Druid, he doesn't have another spawn for 20 seconds, but again, it's not the end of the world in this case, as he's doing so much damage himself anyway. So they're just going to easily take out the range racks for now. But Vega Squadron, it's one of those cases, those awkward moments of, I know it's not easy, but you got to try to make a play right here. Here we go. Chaotic offering with the Terrors. Only hit the one target, though. P can be activated by Iceberg. In response, Laguna Blade immediately used onto OD. Even the Jesus Iceberg is want to stay alive. Troll is going to be picked off. He buys back immediately himself, but already seeming like a lost cause for Vega Squadron. They're also going to lose the Dark Willow, and everyone's still good to go on the side of FlyToMoon. Let's finish it right here, right now, they say. Omni Knight going to be stunned in. Plantimos, he goes in, sitting on top of Lena, but there's that Glimmer Cape, one of the many saves once again. Sanity's Eclipse, still not enough, as GA does come out for the Radiant side. They're going to keep a couple of their cores alive for the time being. OD, though, eventually putting himself under, getting low, is going to stay alive, however, but Troll with a dieback, and as expected, the GG well plays are going to come here as this fight was taking place. So, just too much to handle from FlyToMoon, and the whole range build on Lone Druid as well. This definitely stood out this game too.
Yeah, you called it early on. I was actually quite hesitant to believe it, but I felt like it was more a bear game. I think both would have worked just fine with the way the leader played out in the end. And you mentioned it. They had so much to deal with for sort of Vega. There were 4 stuffs on everybody. There was the perfect shield, and just overall, they had so many tools in their drawer, and Vega had that one button. They had the Warlock Willow, and that was it.
Yeah, their team fight potential was pretty strong, and there was a one fight middle lane where it did seem like that was going to be a potential turning point for Vega, where they went 4-0 in that fight, and the Wombo combo connected, but wasn't to be throughout. Again, too much of a lead for FlyToMoon, and overall, well played on their part. So that means we are going to have our break, of course, coming up. But ladies and gentlemen, game number 2 with a 1-0 lead right now for FlyToMoon. This is the finals here for the StarLadder I League Invitational Season number 5. The winner goes to the main event. The minor, that is, the loser, will fall just short here out of the CIS region. So I'm BreakyCPK, joined by Podhim. Stay tuned, guys. Game number 2 coming up next.